Hello and welcome to another session in English language. And today we are concluding on first comprehension, how to summarize in a specified number of words. That's 1, 2. We're going to take a register on building and construction. And lastly, we're going to do something on synonyms. We're going to do something on synonyms. But before all of that, let us review the previous lesson. Welcome back. So we begin today's lesson with comprehension. And so we begin with summarizing in a specified number of words. Okay? So how do we summarize? Remember, we began this conversation from the previous class. So if you did not participate, I want you to go back to the previous lesson and you glean some wisdom from that lesson. But we continue from there today, summarizing in a specified number of words. Like I said, summary is about brevity. It's about being brief. You don't need ambiguousness or what you call ambiguity. Okay, you don't need complexity. You don't need to be complex. Okay, you just need to be brief, concise in your idea, and clear on them. Okay, so let's begin. Having understood the passage, that is, you've read through the passage thoroughly, having understood what is said in the passage, that is the key sentences or the topic sentences, it is important to jot down the main ideas or points in a paragraph. So in each of the paragraphs in a passage, there is a main idea. You must get the main idea. And it's important you don't just know it in your head. You jot down the main ideas. Okay? You jot down the main ideas or points. Also, in summary writing, there is no room for examples and illustrations. Remember that the examples and illustrations are only used to buttress the main point or idea. So be smart enough to know how to glean the main points or ideas. Then also please avoid link words when you are answering summary questions. Don't use words like more so, however, furthermore, in addition to. Okay, so please avoid such words when you are answering summary questions. And you are advised to write your answers in complete sentences, not phrases or clauses. Okay, so you are advised to write your answers in complete sentences, not phrases or clauses. So the sentences are to be numbered 2. Okay, so you must number, because the question states in not less than 5 sentences. Okay, so your sentences should be numbered. Alright? Then also, each sentence must be clear, must be straightforward, and must be grammatically correct. So please, as much as possible, don't include your idea. Don't include your facts or your points, because they are not contained in the passage. Stick to what is in the passage. Okay? Then as much as possible, be careful of mindless lifting. Be careful of mindless lifting of points, ideas, or answers. Don't copy word for word. Answer in your own words and ensure that your answers are relevant and informative. So we move on to the register on building and construction. So a building has 2 main parts. We have the substructure, which is on the ground, and we have the superstructure, which is above the ground. Another name for the substructure is the foundation. Okay, another name for the substructure is the foundation. Okay, so the superstructure is what we see. Most times we don't see the substructure. Okay, and we have what is called concrete. Concrete is a mixture of cement, sand, gravel, and water. A mixture of cement, sand, gravel, and water that becomes hardened after it dries. And we use this most times in the substructure. Then we have who is a glazier. A glazier is somebody who fits in glass into the window frames. A glazier is a person that fits in glasses into the window frames. Then we have what we call gravel. Gravel are pebbles and pieces of rock that are coarser than sand. Then we have what we call a scaffold. Now a scaffold is a constructed support for workers to stand on when walking high up. I repeat, a temporary elevated structure or platform meant for workers when they are walking high up. Okay, the essence of the scaffold is to provide a support for workers when they are walking high up. For instance, a mason will require a scaffold when they are plastering. Okay? Then we have masonry, the skill of preparing and fixing stones in buildings. That's what we call masonry, because I mentioned mason the other time when explaining scaffold. So you may wonder what is masonry, the art or skill of preparing and fixing stones in building. Then we have an architect. An architect is one who is an expert in drawing up a building plan. Okay? He designs the building plan. Okay, so he graphically constructs the building on paper. That is who an architect is. Okay? Then we have the word renovate. Renovate means to put back into good condition. Okay, so you renovate old buildings. Okay, to put them back into good condition. Then we have furnish. To furnish means to put furniture in a part of a building. Okay, so when you say it is well furnished, it simply means we have furniture, okay, put in some part of the building. The kitchen, the bedroom. Okay, then we have what we call the cistern. The cistern is a storage of water, okay, which flushes human waste from the toilet. Okay, it's always attached to the wall. What you have in the toilet, which you call your water closet. We have the cistern. That's the tank for storage of what? Water. Then we have who we call a plumber. A plumber is a person whose job is to repair and fit water pipes in the bathroom, in the kitchen. Okay? So all the fittings in the kitchen, in the bathroom are the job responsibility of the plumber. So he installs pipes, tanks, sinks, bathtubs, and related what? Fittings. Okay? That's who the plumber is. So we have other persons also who work in buildings. We have the electrician, whose responsibility is to install electric wires and equipment. We have who we call the carpenter, whose responsibility is to make the roof and all the wooden structure. Then we have the painter, who completes the process by painting the whole building. And so with that, we move on to the last section for the day, and that is synonyms. What is a synonym? A synonym is a word that has a similar meaning, okay, or has the same meaning as other words, okay. In other words, we are saying a synonym can replace a particular word without altering its meaning. Okay, so most of the time why we introduce synonyms is to avoid what is called monotony in writing. So instead of you repeating certain words, we can change that. So look at the following words as examples. Odor, scent, smell, stench, aroma, fragrance. They all have to do with, they are all synonyms. Okay? No, but they are not the same. Aroma has to do with a pungent, spicy odor. Something that comes from cooking. Okay? Fragrance has to do with a sweet smell. Okay? Most times from flowers or your perfume. A smell is an offensive or unpleasant odor. Okay? So then we have what you call a scent. A scent is more pleasant. Then a stench is also an offensive, foul smell. So look at the following words and look at their synonyms. To confess means to also admit. It also means to own up. We also have abandon. Abandon could mean to relinquish. It could also mean to give up. Okay? Dangerous could also mean risky or perilous. Surrender could also mean to resign or to yield. And when something is expensive, you could say it is costly, or it is dear, or it's exorbitant. The prices are exorbitant. Okay? Then we have disaster. So when something is a disaster, we say it's a misfortune or a calamity. We have dishonest. We have unjust. We have deceptive. We have compensate. We have atone. We have requite. We have dull. We have gloomy. We have careless. We have reject. It means to expel. Eject rather, not reject. Eject. To emit. We have a protagonist, who you call a hero or a star. And lastly, we have famous. To be famous is to be renowned or to be eminent. And so with this, we've come to the end of this session today. Thank you very much for joining. In order to refresh your memory and recall all that has been taught in this lesson, I would love and suggest that you take the test that pops up on your screen now.